I'd like to welcome everybody to the second week of the follow-up. We're doing this because everybody wanted more, and we're glad because more is good, more knowledge, more truth seeking is very important. And so we're very grateful to have you all here with us. Looks like I need to bring my... Okay, now we'll be able to start changing. Now, I prayed about it and I got really strong. We needed to go back to the Sun Temple and just teach a little bit more because we showed when I went through, I was able to get through that first temple. And the Sun Temple is the first temple of the initiation temples of Egypt, close to the border of Sudan on the edge of the Nile River, on the west side of the Nile River. As depicted in this picture, it's right about here. This is Sudan down right here. And the Sun Temple is the first because if you haven't done your shadow work, and I'll discuss what I mean by that, you don't actually get through this temple. You have to go back and do more of your shadow work. And it looked very similar to this, except it didn't have a roof on the left side, just on the right, on the right side. It just had it on the left side of the Sun Temple. And these are very important because this is the commandments that are in Exodus 20, where Moses received the 10 Commandments. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which has brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or likeness of anything that is in heaven or above, or that is in earth below, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow thyself down to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Oh, what did I do? Go dark. Press the wrong button. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. What this means is keep one day where you contemplate the important things of the universe, of God, of light and love. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. And in it thou shalt not do any work, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and the earth, the sea, and all that is in them, and rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is one with a promise, so we need to always honor our father and our mother. And if we do this, the Lord makes the promise that we will have a long life upon the land that has been given to us. So especially now, we need to honor our mother and our father. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, nor shalt thou covet thy neighbor's wife. You should not. Nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's. Because we're supposed to treat our neighbors with kindness and love and do good to all of those around us. Now, I completed all 12 of the initiations, and now I'm going back. Vicki takes me back through a regression again, and I'm at the Sun Temple with Set, and a new initiate named Tuka is my first initiate initiate, I am supposed to help and teach. I asked Tuka, are you ready to start the initiations? Tuka says, yes, I am. So we go up the stairs and we walk down into the pool of water to baptize him as an initiate. And the baptism being a commitment to lay down your previous life, and coming out of the water, you're committed to the service of God and all of humanity. So we enter in the pool, and this is from my first set of slides. The pool looked very similar to this. Inside, it was very blue and had bluish concrete or rock, whatever it was. And it was about 3.5 feet deep, and I baptized Tuka at this time. And we complete the baptism, we come up on the other side to the fountain of Ormus, where I scoop out a cup of the fluid of gold, silver, and copper. As Tuka drinks down the fluid, I see his soul shake, and I feel his energy slipping down instead of lifting up. And I'm wondering, what the heck is going on? And so I teach him about the Ormus and how it helps us to reach heightened states of consciousness and awareness, and openings to new ways of being will become apparent to that may not be seen by others. Some positive feedback has included reports of increased physical and mental energy as well as healings. So Ormus is a very powerful thing that we can take. I'm currently taking it when I take other herbs, and it helps potentiate it and make it stronger. So we get up to the gong, and this is the first initiation tool. And I tell Tuka to stand 6 feet from the large gong, which is in the room, with a huge mallet. I then take the mallet and strike the gong in the middle, which started humming the solar resonance of 7.83 hertz. Now, this hertz is very important because it's also the Schumann resonance that is around the earth, and it's the frequency of human alpha brainwave state. This is also the state associated with a meditative state. Now, we can get in deeper through delta and gamma and all these other states, but the alpha resonance is the meditative state where you're not asleep, but you are open to resonance coming in, and knowledge and plasma presenting itself, and other types of knowledge. So when the human resonance spikes in amplitude, our brain waves do as well. And over the last 5 years in particular, the resonance has been rising in amplitude, regularly spiking between the power of 20 and 60. So we're getting a lot of information coming into our minds and our hearts and our souls. Many are asleep and they cannot feel this resonance. They cannot wake up with this resonance. You know, it's interesting. There's 2 terms going around the world right now: awake and woke. Woke means you're following the agenda of the cabal. Awake means you're following the agenda of God and all the ascended beings. So this large gong, I hit it, and it vibrates at a C note resonance of the earth, the same as the 1st and 8th chakra is hit, and it fills the temple of the sun with this Schumann resonance, and it affects the melatonin, affects the human health. You know, melatonin actually helps our immune system. That's why it's so important to get adequate sleep. And it alters both the brain and the heart synchronization and changes with the melatonin. Now, the entire biological system, the brain and the earth itself, is on the same frequencies, unless our brain is doing things outside the will of God. Then we get into other vibrations and we can't understand the God resonance, and we don't receive the messages when our brains are doing things that are not in alignment with God. Now it's interesting because Tuka starts to shake uncontrollably, crying out in pain. My head hurts. I know immediately he is not ready for the ascension process, the initiation, and has not done all his shadow work. I ask him, what is making you feel unworthy? Because it is an unworthiness. And Tuka states, I have desires for Anna and I want to be with her. I am not committed to leave her. We cannot proceed with the initiation at this time. We will take you back home, I state. Now this is quite an interesting little story, because as I went through this, and this did happen 4,000 years ago when I was doing the initiations, and now I started teaching them. My very first student couldn't go through because he wasn't ready. And he stated he was ready, but he really wasn't. And when we come to God, all of our shadows will be revealed. And so it's important we work on those shadows to lessen them, get rid of them. So the lesson tonight is we need to work diligently on the shadow of our soul and get into the righteousness or the rightful use of energy. Christ consciousness is the way of righteousness. Freedom and empowerment is a gift for all. Loving thoughts and unconditional selfless service is the mystical which gives power to the whole. You know, last night, well, today I was talking to a guy, and he was complaining because he's waking up at 3 a.m. every morning. I said, you know, that's a good sign. That means that you're waking up during the teaching time of Spirit. You know, the Spirit comes to me every morning about 2:55. I wake up, I have to go to the bathroom, and then I get settled back into bed. But I don't fall asleep, and what I do is I start ho'oponoponoing people, or I start praying for people, sending good energy to people, send forgiveness and love and gratitude. You know, that's what we do when we are during those periods where we're unable to sleep. And guess what happens when you do that and you get done? You very quietly drift off back to sleep. That's what happens to me. But for about an hour to 2 hours, I am awake and diligently doing the spiritual work to assist others and to keep myself clear. So just know, if you're waking up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep, start doing your shadow work. And let me tell you, the best ways to do it is do ho'oponopono, pray for people, meditate, send them love, send them healing energy. You know, I use the masters a lot. When I'm doing Reiki, I don't use my own energy. I call in the Reiki masters and have the Reiki masters do the work. They have unlimited energy on the other side. And, you know, it can be taxing on us. But we can direct and ask the Ascended Masters, the Reiki Masters, whoever we're working with, to go and help people. And that's what we do during this time. So as you look at our different energy centers, our down here is the note C on the scale in music. So it goes C, D, E, F. Our heart is an F in the key of F. G, A, B. And then C again when we get up in the 8th chakra. So isn't it interesting that we have 12 notes on a board of our musical instrument? 12 notes, 5 sharp or flats, however you want to look at them, and 8 regular keys. And this is so throughout the universe. So when we are looking at music even, we need to make sure we're aligned with our music. Some music is dissonant and is not conducive to raising our energy. And so we need to be careful about even the music we listen to. I know You know, I have some favorite music, and some of my favorite music is in alignment with the chakra, and it makes my body feel better, the chakras feel better, everything. So just know there are important ways to raise your vibration, and listening to very good music is one. So as we look at this, there's 12 areas we go through. And all of these is a very important lessons that we need to work on. And so for this week, I want you to look at your shadow self again and make sure you're doing everything in alignment with the laws of God, the commandments of God, and the laws of the universe, so that we're not harming anybody else and we are honoring the God energy. Now, when I say God energy, last night I did a thing for a group up in Toronto, Canada, and you know, it was interesting because there was some debate about prayer, and prayer is where we ask for guidance, we ask questions to the divine, and we meditate to receive answers. But you know, we've sort of cut out prayer out of our government, which in our government we need the inspiration of the divine, and they've totally locked out everything and anything to do with the divine. And even in our schools, we no longer teach children that praying is good. In fact, because they're not allowing prayer in school, a lot of our kids think prayer is bad. And so we need to re-instruct them and teach them and go to our school boards and start re-instigating this God-given right to pray to our God, our divine, whatever that may be. Now, shadow work must be done with removal of all the shadows of darkness out of our heart, our mind, and our soul, replacing the shadows with the love of God. Each major energy center is stopped from spinning when the rhythm of the God resonance isn't there. And so it's important to bring God back into our lives whenever we are not in total alignment with the universal truths and the universal laws of God. It stops the flow. Fear stops the flow of love and truth. And you think about what we're living in right now, they are trying their most to cause us to stay in fear, which disconnects us from the divine. And so it's very important that we all breathe in the love of God into our heart, our mind, and our souls, so that we align ourselves and align our chakras with that love. And it strengthens us and helps us do our shadow work, because we will recognize where we're lacking. So that's all the lesson I am going to give, because I want time to answer your questions. So Vic, will you bring the questions in? And thank you everybody for being here. Aloha from Northern California. Wow, it must be warmer there. This is good. The screen says Mountaineer. I wonder who that is. I have no idea. This above message is from Linda Nibon. Okay. Will these follow-up meetings be available to listen to again? Yes. I actually tried to put them on the original bunch of private, but I may have to put them on just a regular YouTube. And so I have to be very careful what I say so we don't get banned from YouTube. Okay, do you have a chart that shows the music notes for each chakra? The one shown did not include these. Just remember that it starts out with C in your root chakra and then goes to D for the sacral plexus, E for your solar plexus, and F in the heart chakra. The two major systems used in music the different keys that you play in, the most popular is C because it's very grounded. The next most popular is the key of F with 1 sharp, F sharp. And I was a student of music for many years. In fact, I played the tuba in college because they paid me to be a part of the band. And in fact, they paid for my way to go on a trip back east. We played in the Kennedy Center. We played at Madison Park. And I mean, our band was one of the best bands in the United States at the time. And they needed, more tuba because tuba is the bass of the band. And so they hired me because I was an excellent bass player, plus I played the tuba in high school and junior high, and so they asked me to come teach and play. So I don't have a chart. You can probably type in on Google musical notes and the chakras, and they'll probably have a picture of it, and you'll be able to look at it that way. Okay, how do the commandments compare with universal law? They're in total alignment, believe it or not, with universal law, because who made universal law? The Creator. And the Creator is the Almighty I Am that I Am, who was the Lord that Moses was speaking to when he gave him these laws. In fact, the Lord gave an initial set of laws, and Moses brought those first laws down, which were the universal laws, and the people had built a calf made out of gold, and they were worshiping it, of all things, and they were going to sacrifice one of their kids on it. And so Moses threw those down, and it just totally, and he went down and he knocked over the golden calf and told the people, you need to repent and come back to God. Because they had learned very bad things in Egypt and had gotten away from true worship of God. And so, as we look at the commandments versus universal law, what happened is Moses had to go back up and talk to God and bring back simpler things to tell the people, because the initial laws were the laws of the universe. And they broke when he threw them down on the ground because he was angry that they had built this calf. So just know this is how, and a lot of us have lost this knowledge. And that's why I'm teaching it again, because I've been commanded to teach these things. Okay. Do initiates know what to work on within themselves before taking each initiation? Yes. When I was going through the love temple, there were all these initiates being taught lessons within the love temple about the laws of God, the commandments of God, and how to get rid of their shadow selves. Even Tuka, who I was taking through, he thought he was ready and he wanted to do the initiation, but his desires were still with his girlfriend.